And welcome back to the second part of the flight. This is where we will now be setting up the aircraft inside. We're nearly ready for a push and start, so we've just got to kill a few switches and check a few items, and then we'll be on our way. So we'll just stow that. So let's get rid of all the white lights first of all, as the Airbus demands that we have a white light clear overhead, and that will take out a lot of the problems on the EFB. Down the bottom. It's a fairly complex cockpit, this. It's fairly straightforward, and we'll clear those messages there. And just clear the status. There we go, back to normal. Okay, now we'll arm the doors. I'll put the dome light on. I got external power on. What we need to do now is we need to put the APU bleed on, and we need to put the bleed switch on. Start. We need to call our push back as well, so let's get our push back up. So this is the AVI tab. I'm just going to put in where we are, EIDW. And we're over on the cargo terminal. I'll just bring up the airport to help us taxi out, although I know where it is now. And there we are. I'll just bring that up. So we need to go to EIDW, we need to go to 28 there. Using Ultra Weather, that's the latest update. Ultra Weather is a plugin that can be used. So the plugins I'm using are MoveVR to get this electronic book to work, AviTab and MoveVR. Okay. Right, we're waiting on the APU. The APU does not want to start. Let's put on the fuel pump. No. We're not wanting to start. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's go back. Let's get the air starter on. I'll put on the air starter. APU bleed is on. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, so we've got a problem with the APU. It's bleed PSI APU generator. Okay, let's have a look at the APU, see what it tells us. APU bleed. Alright, let's turn off the APU. Let's turn off the Come that off, and let's put that APU bleed on again, and let's put the APU and one of that and start it again. Nothing. Okay, all right. We're going to go for a. We're going to get the push back in anyway.
Just give us a few seconds.
I'm just waiting for it to connect up. We'll get the. We're going to be starting up engines. We'll put the beacon on. We'll put the strobe on auto. Nothing else. We'll put that on. The lights on.
Steering being inserted. We're connected right now. Pushback. Then we'll be ready to lift you after space confirm parking brake is set.
And he's asking us to confirm the parking brake is set, which it is.
Sir, so you may now release parking brakes.
Okay. There we go. It's starting up now. We've been asked to release parking brakes. We might as well go with that now. And get pushed back. And there we go. Well, the APU is telling us it's available, so what we'll do now is we will go to crank and we will start engine 1. So now we look over here and we wait for that, the N2, to get to about 18. And now we can put some fuel in. And what we'll see now is we'll see the starting up. There we go, the EGT. There we go. Right, we're stable there, so what we shall do now is 9.6, we're still got a way to go. There we go. Well, let's get engine 2 started.
pushback completed, please unpark the brakes.
And we'll put the fuel in. We can now turn, oh no, we leave the, yes, we can now turn off the, that's all gone off, okay, that's fine. And leave that where it is, we leave the APU where it is for the moment. The thump you heard there was the tuck being disconnected.
Okay, thank you very much. So just hold position, I'm going for my head seal on. Okay, thanks a lot. Enjoy the flight and see you next time. Bye bye.
Okay, so we can turn off the APU and we can put the crank back up. And the auto throttle on. Get ready for taxi. Remember we said the brakes were on 15-15. That's 2 positions down. And if we look there, we'll see 15-15. And we're on the speed brake. There's the speed brake on, and we've got we want auto brakes full, so we're quite ready now for the taxi out. Just going to head out now to 28. And we're at link Z, which means we take a left here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put our lights on.
Approaching runways.
We'll turn our radios on. We'll have a final check that everything is okay.
On runway 28.
Everything everything seems fine. We're not getting any warnings. Frequent icing range, landing lights extended, which we'd expect. And what we'll do is we'll put on our ice, as it's really pretty cold out there. And we'll be going through some clouds, so we'll need the ice on. Okay, so now all that remains is to run the engines up to about 40. Let's roll, and let's click the auto throttle in. $100 knots, 120 knots, 140 knots, V1, and rotate. Gear up, and we'll pop the autopilot on. We'll take her down. Flaps 1. Speed brake off. And as soon as we get to our speed, we'll take the other set of flaps off. We're now at 1700 feet. $1,800 feet, flaps up, and we'll drop the undercarriage to the center position. Climbing speed now. We're turning around now to go back out over the Irish Sea. This is 3,700 feet. Now climbing through a bit of cloud. 4,800, 4,900, 5,000. Put the barrow to standard. Just pop the map on and get an idea where we are. And we're heading straight out over Dublin. And what we're going to do is we're going to come out over Dublin and down over Bangor, and then we're going to head a left down over Worcester, Birmingham, Worcester, Gloucester, and we're going to come down past London, and then we're going to turn in around Brighton, Bexhill, Hastings, up and around, and then into 8 right at Gatwick. We can turn the ice off. We're out of the clouds. (10,000 feet). We've only got 5 passengers with us as we're a cargo flight, but we'll turn the seat belts off and let them have a walk around. And we can also now turn off the landing lights. We can turn off the runway lights. I believe the beacon strobe nav logo can come off. And as can. That's it. Okay. So what we're going to do while we're going to have a look at the flight plan here, and we're going to test if it's okay on the way in. There's where we are now, so if I keep hitting that button, it'll tell us there's all our waypoints down to Disset, Kidley, so it's actually going to take us Tuffus and to Holly, into Willow, up to CF08R, and then straight into Y25 into Gatwick. So that's fine. We can actually leave that. Now we'll just go back onto map mode. So what we can do now is we can prepare for the journey down. And it's EGKK we want. And we want 8 right. Approaches 8 right. ILS 8 right initial approach. So there it is, there's the initial approach. And then if we go back, we'll want the final approach 8 right, which is there. That's the final approach. And the star, which is the arrival, is going to be Disset. So we're going to come down through Disset into Kidley, down into Tufos, up into Willow, and then the there's 8 right there. So we're going to come up to the left of 8 right, hang a right, and straight in. Okay, so the most important chart for us at the moment is this one here, as it gives us our radio frequency for the ILS, which is 110.9. So we need to change this here to 110.9, and the course we want to go in on is 078. So this aircraft is a mixture of Boeing and Airbus. It's an old aircraft. Well, it's still in operation, I think, from DHL, FedEx and other companies like that, other haulage companies. We're way above the clouds now, we're coming up to 22,000 feet. This here is the decision height altitude. We need to set that, our decision height. And DAH and ILS is 200. So we'll just click that on and we'll go to 200. 200. And our landing elevation, we need to check our landing elevation. We did that when we took off from Dublin. Airport elevation 203, and we've got it at 200, which is absolutely spot on. Correct. So let's sit back and enjoy the ride. It's warning us there, frequent icing in range. There's our true air temperature is minus 13 degrees, which isn't too bad. I got 10.6 of fuel. Gross weight's 139.6 thousand kilos. And our centre of gravity is 30.0, which is okay. Seatbelt signs are off. Everything looking good. I'm not going to switch the video on or off. This is going to be a full flight. So we'll see how it behaves on the way down. And as we get the ATIS, which is the get an update departure and update arrival. So at Gatwick 1628, EGKK is the code, and we have 200 at 5 knots, which is not bad. The QNH will be 1018. And the QNH will go in down here, and then it'll show up there. So if we extend the map out, we'll see that, oh, it's gone, that arrow there, that blue arrow, that will be our altitude. So we hope to reach our altitude just after the waypoint Ampet, which is there, Ampet, and we're heading towards Lutip at the moment, which is here, so it should be at Ampet. So we're 2.1 miles from Lutip. This here now is on a range of 120. Mach reading 0.77 at the moment. Wind 032 at 51. So it's 51 knot wind coming in from the left. So our climb target has changed now. It's changed down to Bagot, between Bagot and Dollop. That blue arrow there, they call it the hockey stick. So once we reach that, we should reach that at 35. I'll bring that down to 30. Another 4,000 feet to climb. And we're being told that it's roughly 10 miles, 8 miles to the top of Dead. Oh, not to the top of Dead, to the climb. And just reaching 35. As I said, as it's a short flight, I'm going to leave the video running. It's as it is. I'm not going to do any cuts. So you'll see my mistakes as well, which are a lot. And there we go. 35. We're leveling out now. 35. Lovely. Well, let's have a look now and see where our top of Dead is. Which means, there it is, it's not too far. So we'd be climbing down, or we'd be descending probably after Rizla. And if you look here, it says Rizla there, 350, and then down to 344 we start our descent at Rizla. And there's our top of descent arrow, which is in white, a white hockey stick. So when we reach that, we need to be ready to descend. The descent to Gatwick, we need to be at 3,000 feet to catch the ILS. That's the actual glide slope there, but this is the ILS, so we need to be at 3,000 feet. And we should be picking that up at 8.6 miles from the threshold. Let's go back to the map. As you can see, we're over Bangor already. And there's where we'll be doing our turn at Ampit. About there, we'll be coming down then over Birmingham. There's the coast of Wales down there. It'll be out to my left window. And if you look further up, you can't see it with the haze, but the Isle of Man is off to the left. So about 50 miles to top of dead, which is our start of descent. This is where you need something to read. I've been a passenger, but we've got to keep an eye on the instruments and make sure nothing is untoward, and just keep glancing around the flight deck. We're turning right now. We're just doing a right, and we're going to turn down that way over Birmingham. About 40 miles now to top of dead, top of descent. Don't know why we call it top of dead, top of descent. We can pick the airports out if we change that. You can see the different airports. EGGP and EGNR. EGGP is Liverpool, and that's off to our left, so Liverpool's out there. Quite hazy out. Nice and clear up here, but quite hazy. Clouds are few at 2,000 feet, so we're not going to have much weather on the way in, which you'd expect from Gatwick down the south coast. Mind you, the weather has been horrendous. So off to the left out there is Birmingham and Chester. Wrexham and Chester and Liverpool. You can just about see it through the haze. Okay, about 20 miles now to top of descent. One thing with this aircraft is, on previous experience when coming into, when descending, we have to keep on a profile, which means constant use of the speed brake, and we also need to get our speed down. And it took me a long time to master that, but hopefully I've got it this time. So just have a quick look at our takeoff and approach page. We want to be coming in on we're coming in on flaps 30 and 40, slats 30, flaps 40. Our speed in is going to be 157 knots. And I need to have a look at the MDA airports. MDA for the ILS is 396. So we need to type in 396 in here, 396, and we need to put that in Air 396. So we go back to flight plan. We're now only 8 miles from top of dead, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring us down to 3000. feet. And we'll hit the profile button. And there we go. So what we've got now is we've got a VDEV bar come up. This is the aircraft here in the center. The diamond tells us if we're above or if we're below. So if the diamond is above us, the center line, it means we're below. And if it's below us, it means we're above the altitude profile. That will start dropping shortly. We did descend early, which isn't a problem, so that will drop down to the center line. As you can see now, we're starting to descend 34,480. So we need to keep an eye here on a couple of points. We're going to Telba next. We need to be at 317,000 feet. And Telba is another 10 miles. There she is dropping down now. See? Which is pretty good. Once that diamond reaches the center, it means we're on our profile target, which is our descent target. And that means then that at Telba we should be at 300,000 feet. So we've 5 miles to travel and we have 3,000 feet to lose. The temperature in Gatwick is 3 degrees. Unless we're going through a cloud, we won't put the anti-ice on. As I said, there's probably loads of errors I've done, which all come with practice. I know I never set the barrow reference, which I should have done before takeoff at Dublin. We're not using ATC either, which adds to the immersion. However, we don't need that along with the first video as well of this aircraft. So 14 miles to Vidocq, and we should be at 27,000 feet. We're on profile, and we've got 10,000 feet to go, 3,000 feet. There's the profile. It's fine. I think basically I'm just talking myself through it, which is a great way of learning. Over Birmingham, out the left window is Birmingham. There she is. I've hit up 1 mile, 27,000 feet, 27,000, we're spot on. You might see the controller with no hands on it in the video. My hand is attached to that controller. This whole flight is done in VR. Okay, doing right, doing okay, we're still in the centre. Right, let's just check the aircraft again. We're all set up, we've got our ILS and our course approach. We've got our landing altitude at 200 feet. We've got our altitude selected 3,000 feet, which is the glide slope. Everything is looking fine. We're all okay. The APU's off. Normally in VR you can go into other programs. I'm not going to do that while videoing because it just messes up the video. So it can be a lot more interesting because you're floating about looking at maps and looking at other programs that you need to get you in, weather, all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to keep the video running and do the flight. Okay, so we're coming down over Gloucester now, towards Oxford. And we're at 21,800 feet. Next waypoint is Disset, 2 miles, and we should be at 21,000, and we're already at 21,000, which is fine. So we're going to go straight through that and down towards 1,500 for Kidley. $19,000 to reach Kidley, 15,000 in 18 miles easy, and we're still okay. Airports EGUD, EGTK, I wasn't sure we'll have EGLL coming up soon. In fact, is that it just appearing? Is that EGLL? No, it's quite a way. I'm going to turn off the airports now and put on the constraints. And that'll give us constraints at Kidley. You can see it's in magenta, which is a constraint of 15,000 feet. And we're still on target. Goldfields of Oxford. Still on target. .3 miles to Kidley, and our target is 15,000 feet. We're on 15,900 feet. Fantastic. Well, we're starting to drop below target a bit. We're okay. It's gone back up. Target speed is 263, 263. So the profile is working well. Next waypoint, Kidley is Midhurst. We want to be down at 13,900, and that's why it's going very, very slowly. Midhurst is 45 miles. The airport's up. We'll need to go to cargo up here. So we're on the star now. We're approaching down to 2 Foss, which is a maximum of 250 knots. 2 Foss is a maximum of 250 knots. Flight 12,700. I'm actually below our descent, so what we'll do is we'll hold the altitude here until we get this back on course. So we're waiting for that arrow to start to drop down, and once it's in line we can carry on. A bit of turbulence here. But there's 26 miles, 13,900 feet. So we're going to stay on this height now until our VDEV starts to drop. Midhurst, 13,900 feet. So we're going to go past Midhurst before we start descending again. Now what happens when you adjust the, when you go into altitude hold, it goes back to the altitude that you press the hold at, which is 12,500, so we're going to have to adjust that again. Alright, down to the 3,000 to get onto profile. So we're not going to expect anything here now till we pass Midhurst. As soon as we get past Midhurst, that will start dropping down. Reason being is we're below profile and we've got to wait to catch up with it. So Midhurst should be at 13,900. We're already at 12,500, so we must wait until we reach the centre and then we can start our descent again. Of course, if we were being directed by air traffic, he'd be giving us descents. We wouldn't actually be probably on profile. we'd be using the level change and the altitude hold buttons. And coming down towards Southampton, Portsmouth, Brighton, and we'll be doing a turn up and around and into London. So we should be at 250 knots, we're at 260 knots. We'll bring that down now, down to 250 knots. Put on a bit of speed brake just to get us down to that 250 mark, and we put it back in. Right, we're going towards Midhurst now. Midhurst we should be at 13,900. So we're going to actually go past Midhurst, which is 6.9 miles, and then we'll start dropping down. 2 Foss 12,700, we're actually on the 2 Foss altitude already. So we'll stick on 250. And again, we'll wait till that starts dropping. So we have to be at 3,000 feet here. There's quite a way to go. We're getting a message here. Air temperature in frequent icing range. Do you wish to switch on the icing? No. So this is the Inibuilds A300 from the company Inibuilds. Excellent aircraft. In fact, I would probably safely say it's one of the best on Xplane. It gives you that Boeing experience, and I'm not a Boeing person. I'm an Airbus person, which I get slated for regularly, but it gives you a chance to get with. There we go now, so we can now take off. We can go back on profile, and we can send back down to 3,000. And we'll put a bit of brakes out just to bring us back up here. We're back down, we're above it now, so we need to start descending. Holly, we should be at 8,000, we're at 12,400, we're now descending again. And we'll put full speed brakes on. We have a very sharp turn coming up from Holly, which will swing us right out around. And the Airbus isn't really capable of the 300 of doing this turn, so we're going to swing right out and around and then back, and then we're going to be doing left and right till we get back onto the airway into Willow. Okay, we'll just leave the air brakes out for a moment. We're being warned here that the air brakes are out, that's fine. And we'll just wait for this to climb back up. So 11,700 feet. We're going towards Holly. We should be at 087. We need to drop our speed down as well. We can get the landing lights on, seatbelt sign on, landing lights. Starting to come back up now, so we're coming back onto level. And we'll just push the brakes in. Going to do a very sharp turnover now. Turn to the left. 8,800, 8,700 at Holly, and we're just 0.1, so we're bang on target again. Here we go, off to the left. And we're down to 220 knots. The Airbus would have probably the 320 or the 319 would take this corner a lot lighter and be around, but we're a massive aircraft, so 8,100 feet, Willow 7 miles, 8,700, 7,000 feet we should be at. You can see now we're going to come back across and we're going to come onto target here and then up into Willow. We'll just extend out the screen so we see where, and we're heading for Holly. 8,700 miles. Holly is, Willow is, we've passed Holly. Willow 8,700 miles. Not 8,700 miles, 8,700 feet. And we're at 7,500. So we're a bit high again. So what we'll do is we'll altitude hold. This is unlike the Airbus 319 and 320. You've got to constantly monitor the gauges and your speed, even though it's automated. So we should be dropping down to 07,000. Okay, we're going to be we might be slightly high here. 3,000 feet. Right, what we need to do is arm the ILS. Because as soon as we do a right turn here, we're going to hit the ILS. And we want to arm the land button. There's the ILS just kicked in there and there. Glide slope. Down to 200 knots. I'll take it down to 1. I'll take it down to 170. And we can get 1 flaps in. Barrel reference is 1018. Sorted. Turning now. The ILS, we can go down to our speed 155. The speed brake's on. We're not turning, so we need to turn it now. Heading select. And we've actually missed the ILS. So we're going to keep her coming round. Pop back on nav mode. And we've got the ILS, so we're heading back now towards the ILS. Should be fine. We're at 3,700 feet, which is grand. We've got land button on. We've got the ILS on, and we're down at 160. We can put another flaps down. Okay, so we're back on track, and we should hit the ILS this time. That's why we've got to watch the instruments. And you can see here what's happened. We're going to come down and then turn in and straight down that glide slope there. And we're at 3,000 feet, which is what we want to be at. And we're just about to cross over the glide slope now. What I did back there was, instead of doing a manual, I did a direct to, because we still had it on the FMC, which is this, so I did a direct to CF 08 right. and it brought us back on track, but I had to give it a helping hand because that turn was so narrow, it missed the approach. But we're okay. Bang on. There's the dot coming across now to the centre. We're 3,000 feet. Our speed is nice, 160. We'll go down to 155, 154. There we go. And we'll give it more flaps. There's the glide slope come into operation, so we'll put on autopilot 2. And we want the landing gear down. We'll also put the medium brake on, and we'll put the speed brakes on. So we go full flaps, speed brakes, manual brake, and gear down. And there's the airport ahead. And we got landing lights on. I got runway turn-offs on, and not lav, LAGO, we don't need that on, but we'll put that on. We got the seatbelt signs on. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the APU on for when we land. Right, we've missed the glide slope, so we're going to have to take this in by hand. So let's bring her down. We're actually above the glide slope, so we want that diamond to come back up, but we don't want to. There she comes, she's coming back up now. What we could do is we'll put no, we won't. Bring her back down. Cock this one up.
Sink rate, sink rate, sink rate, sink rate, sink rate.
We're okay.
Approaching 0A right. Approaching 0.
Shit, wrong runway.
300.
Approaching 0A right. 1,000 feet remaining.
And welcome to Gatwick. And let's get the map. Gatwick, there we go. And we want to go
Approaching 26 right.
up the Romeos, which will be next one up. And there's the cargo building straight ahead. You can turn off the landing lights. And here we are at the cargo terminal. Brakes on, engines off, beacon off, lights off, strobe off, seat belts off for our passengers in the back, and okay, alright, there we go, there we have it. So we're back. That was hairy. It just goes to show how easy it is to lose it. Very easy indeed. We put the brakes on, brake fans on, we used a bit of brake there. All in all though, I don't think it was a bad touchdown myself, but it's flying by the seat of our pants. Well, thanks for joining me. Loads and loads of errors. It can only get better in time. Okay, thank you.